Malik Johnson wasn't a man who thought much about himself. Most of his days were consumed with keeping the lights on, making rent, and making sure his little girl, Ava, never carried the weight of what they didn't have. But on this cold Boston night, he found himself tugging at the sleeves of a faded button-up, the collar pressed as neat as his old iron would allow. It wasn't new. It wasn't stylish, but it was clean in for Malik. That had to be enough. He'd pulled $50 from the envelope tucked in the back of his dresser, the one marked for emergencies. This counted as one. He told himself. The restaurant wasn't glamorous, but the navy linens and polished wood booths made it feel like another world compared to his cramped apartment. Candlelight softened the edges of the room, as if the place itself wanted to whisper about second chances. He paused at the door, inhaled, and stepped inside with a nervous hope he hadn't felt in years. Malik wasn't used to being on a date. He was a father first, a worker second, and somewhere far down the list, just a man, seated at a small table by the window. He rehearsed how to stretch that 50. He'd always managed before. He checked his watch. 6:45 slid into 7. Then 7:15. Each time the door opened, his heart leapt only to fall again as couples strolled in, brushing snow off their coats. Maybe she was stuck in traffic. Maybe she'd stopped to fix her hair. By 7:30, those excuses fell hollow. Malik stared at the message she'd sent earlier. Can't wait to see you tonight. He typed back, I'm here, just checking in. No reply. Then his phone buzzed. Hope flare then crashed. Wow, you actually went. I was just messing with you. Sorry, not my type. Not worth the Uber. Another message followed like salt in the wound. You seem nice. But seriously, you thought I was coming? The words blurred as humiliation burned hot up his neck. The restaurant hummed around him, forks scraping. Couples leaning close while he sat still. Phone clenched in his hand. The server passed, asking politely if he'd like to order. Malik shook his head. Still waiting? He muttered, though he knew better. He opened his wallet under the table, staring at the single $5 left behind. $50 had been too much already. He pressed the napkin against his lap, jaw tight, willing back tears he refused to let fall in public. Men like him didn't cry. Men with kids. With pride, they didn't get that luxury. Yet the weight in his chest whispered otherwise. Across the room, Naomi Caldwell sat at her usual corner table, unwinding after another long day of running Caldwell Organics. Her natural hair was pulled back, her skin glowing in the soft light. She noticed him, a man sitting by the window in a simple, carefully pressed shirt, posture stiff, eyes flicking to the door with raw hope that made her pause. She saw his relief when his phone buzzed, then the quick collapse after reading whatever message it held. Disappointment was etched into the slope of his shoulders. Naomi leaned back, her wine untouched. She knew rejection while hers usually arrived in polished letters and clipped tones in boardrooms. But the look on his face cut through her in a way quarterly losses never could. She flagged down a server. Quietly, she ordered pasta and a sparkling lemonade. Slipping her card forward, for the man by the window, she said softly, when the steaming plate arrived. Malik blinked in confusion. I didn't order this. The server smiled. It's taken care of, sir. Suspicion rose in him. Was this another cruel joke? He searched the room, bracing for laughter. That's when her voice reached him. It's not charity, Naomi said gently from just behind him. It's a reminder. You deserve to eat, even if the world tries to tell you otherwise. Startled, Malik turned to see her. She wasn't pitying him. She was simply there, steady, honest. He tried to protest, but no words came. No one had ever told him he deserved anything. Naomi touched the back of the chair across from him. May I? Malik nodded numbly. They sat in quiet at first. His hand hovered over the fork. Hesitant. You didn't have to, he whispered. Naomi met his eyes. I know. That's why it matters. The words rippled through him. He finally lifted the fork, took a bite, and something broke open. It wasn't just food. It was dignity. It was proof he hadn't gone unseen. They spoke about simple things: the weather, the restaurant's old pasta recipe, how Boston winters never really ended. It wasn't heavy. It wasn't flirtation. It was just human. When he finished, Naomi slid him her card. CEO, Caldwell Organics. She stood, nodding once before leaving. Her wine glass barely touched. Malik sat there staring at the card, her words echoing. A week later, at a small cafe, Malik heard a familiar voice order for him before he could speak. Naomi sat in the corner, laptop open, sleeves rolled. "You remember my coffee?" he asked. "I remembered your courage," she replied. They shared that morning. Conversation easy, unforced. Soon, she sent him a message-in invite to a workshop on childhood nutrition. Malik almost didn't go, but her no pressure stuck with him. In a room full of experts, he raised his hand and asked what parents like him should look for when time and money left no room for cooking fresh. The room stilled. The answer he got was thoughtful, genuine. From the back, Naomi watched quietly. This wasn't ambition. It was love for his daughter. Later that day, Malik scooped Ava up at the library. Naomi watched as the little girl shyly tugged at her coat, whispering, "She smells like Mommy's perfume." The air shifted. Naomi crouched, her voice soft. "That's a big compliment. Your mommy must have had wonderful taste." Malik's eyes shimmered as he whispered, "She doesn't usually say things like that." Something fragile and unspoken passed between them. From then on, Naomi showed up not with grand gestures, but with coloring books, with calm presence, with care when Ava was sick. One night, Naomi hummed a lullaby Ava's mother used to sing. Without even knowing, Malik sat stunned, grief and gratitude colliding. "You couldn't have known," he whispered. Naomi only said, "Some things just find their way back." Their lives intertwined slowly, steadily, until it felt less like two separate paths and more like one family. Then came the letter, a scholarship in Oregon, a year-long training program that could change everything for him and Ava. Malik told Naomi with dread in his chest. She simply said, "Loving someone doesn't mean holding them back. It means not clipping their wings." The night before he left, they made a paper chain with Ava, each link marking a week until his return. A year later, Malik walked into Boston's hospital as a certified medical technician. On his desk sat an invitation to a Caldwell Organics launch event. The rooftop glowed with lights as Naomi spoke to the crowd, her voice carrying power and grace. On every product box was a silhouette of a mother holding a child. The tagline, "For the women who stayed hungry to feed hope." Her eyes found his, and suddenly the world shrank to just them. When the speech ended, she crossed the room, slipped a small velvet box from her pocket, and whispered, "I don't want to save you. I just want to stay, if you'll let me." Malik's throat tightened. He nodded. Yes. That evening, they returned to the restaurant where it all began. But this time, Malik wasn't alone at the window table. Naomi sat beside him, Ava bouncing in her chair, proudly spreading a drawing of the three of them under a yellow-doored roof. "This is us," she said. Malik's eyes shimmered as he looked from the picture to the faces across from him. A year ago, he'd walked in with nothing but $50 and fragile hope. Tonight, he had everything: love, family, and a future that felt like it belonged to him. Candlelight flickered, laughter filled the air, and, for the first time in years, Malik allowed himself to believe fully. Not in rescue, not in fairy tales, but in the quiet miracle of being seen, chosen, and loved.